Everyone, this is Nisa. In case you don't know me, this is a book review video of East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I hope you guys know the drill by now. If not, I'm going to give you a brief clarity. This video is structured into 5 different categories. First, I'll be talking about the author. Second, physicality of the book. Third, the core theme. Fourth, the plot. And at last, I am going to give you contemplated character analysis, which means this video is just not scratch on the surface. We are going to push the threshold. With this, I'm going to wrap up the video. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Phase 1. The introduction of the writer, the author. John Steinbeck is the creator of this masterpiece, East of Eden. So John Steinbeck was born on 27 February 1902. With this, he had sound and stable childhood, as his father, John Ernest Steinbeck, being a mill manager, and his mother, Olive Hamilton, being a former school teacher. The peculiar thing about John Steinbeck is that he attended Stanford University. With this, he took English and writing course, but he did not end up earning a degree. The time frame was 1919 to 1925. So the repercussion of it is he ended up doing multiple odd labor jobs, but he had this colossal passion for writing. He continued doing so. The writing, okay. And Rotila Flat, which was published in 1935, became the first book which put him on the mark of literary world. Like, it finally gave him the recognition that he deserved while ago. So in 1937, he published a book called Of Mice and Men. In 1939, he published Grapes of Wrath. So Grapes of Wrath is one of the most favorite movie of mine. I need to seize the moment because this movie spoke to my soul, and I have discovered like this cyber coping mechanism to my life that is an absolute cheat code. So I'm going to share with all of you. So there is this beautiful scene of sunset in this movie. Movie is obviously about like the subject of the movie is really depressing and heart-wrenching, a typical classic John Steinbeck. But let me tell you, I was not aware of John Steinbeck back then when I watched this movie. So there is the concept of sunset, and my POV is that was the metaphor to hope. And I have discovered my coping mechanism to insanity is the moving water and sunset. This heals me like nothing else. So this movie spoke to my soul, and I am forever indebted, like in gratitude to John Steinbeck for this. So yeah, let's continue. So in 1952, he published this masterpiece, East of Eden. He himself declared this being his magnum opus, and the work prior to it was the practice to get into it. In 1962, he was awarded with Nobel Prize in Literature. In 1964, he was awarded with U.S. Medal of Freedom, and in 1968, he became immortal. And he died of heart disease. The interesting fact about John Steinbeck and East of Eden is that he wrote his entire draft. He was just not a fan of typewriting, so he wrote the entire book with his hand. That's commendable to the core. Physicality of the book. So this book is compendium, massive one. So mine is the copy of Penguin Modern Classic. So this, like the page count of this is 602, but I swear this smells like butter. This, if you are turning page 1, you will not be stopping without finishing the entire book, and you will not even realize this is one sitting book. This is core theme of the book is Damsel, a philosophical one, which is roughly translated into Thomeist, which is uncovered by a character called Lee. I'm coming into him later on. So, the meaning of it. Although human beings are doomed with epigenetic inheritance, generational trauma, generational pathology, intergenerational trauma, we do possess this beautiful art called freedom of choice. And this choice is the antidote to break the cycle of generational trauma. And this provides you the human sovereignty. It's time for the plot. So the plot is bifurcated into two different family who contrast in principal value and everything. So first we have Hamiltons and second the Trucks. I'm going to talk about Hamilton first. So Hamilton, we have Samuel Hamilton and Lisa Hamilton as the head of the family. They are a couple and all the 9 children together of them both. Okay. So Samuel Hamilton is a hard-working, tenacious person with heart and intellect. He has this weird obsession with a persistent patent of agriculture mechanism and tool that he invents. But this puts the family into vicious cycle of debt. He have this intellect, despite having it, he's not able to make money. Any trivial inconvenience happens in the valley people. With the valley people, everyone runs to Samuel Hamilton because he is very kind of a person. He is very kind, he is a handyman, he comes up with a solution and the kindness is guaranteed. So everyone runs to him and he lets them borrow money too, but he never asks for it, the return of it. But people tend to forget it. I think this is the universal tendency, the human trait, forgetting to return the favor. It is just not returning the money, but it is return of the favor and you have to pay back. I'm going to briefly talk about the 9 other Hamilton children. So at first I'm going to talk about the son, 4 sons and 5 daughters. First I'll be talking about the sons. In son we have George, Will, Joe and Tom. So George is the eldest one. He's now working in an insurance company as a salesperson. Will have a very remarkable turnout because he have maneuvered the skill of money making, which was lacked in Hamilton family, and I'm happy with Will. He's a business minded person and he is the first one to introduce automobile business in his family. With that we have Joe is the youngest and he also attended I think he is the first one to go to the university, I guess, Stanford University, and he is now working in a advertisement company. With that we have Joe. Why I kept him for the last is that he had a devastating, catastrophic ending. The graph of him is so he is known as the underdog and he remains so. He stayed in the family house longer than everyone. I think he died in it too. Suicide with the guilt because a guilt killed him. The guilt was he accidentally became the culprit of death of his own sister Daisy. Okay, I'm going to talk about Daisy now. So we are going to talk about the daughters. We have Lizzie, Daisy, as I've already told, Olive, Molly, Una. So Daisy, as I've already told, she dies a catastrophic death because she was suffering from a stomach pain, and Tom accidentally gives her a medicine, thinking of it, but it firebags. It becomes the death of her. So at second we have Lizzie. Lizzie, I think, is the eldest one, and she's not in touch with the family. Third, we have Una. Una too had a devastating ending. She marries young, so her husband place is very far, and her death, like a sudden death, shocks Samuel to the core, and he never becomes same person again. Olive is a representation of a writer's mother, Olive Hamilton. So she is also a school teacher, very intellectual one and level-headed. So she represents the mother of him. Stark's family is the framework of this dark psychology with the explicit biblical mirror of Abel and Cain throughout the generation. We are going down to 3 generations. Our patriarch is Cyrus Stark. So Cyrus Stark construct this grandiose myth where he is a war hero, and he actually sells this deception throughout his existence. He is a father, so he have this wife, okay, and who commits suicide, and she is into this religion. I don't know what it is. I'm not able to understand Mrs. Trask. This is what describes her, and to this date I'm not able to decipher it. If anyone had, let's comment down below and let's discuss over her. And she gives him a son called Adam. We have Adam Stark, who is fragile, a kind-hearted, a very soft child, a very good child, okay. And he have this second wife, and she gives birth to Charles. So the Charles and Adam is brought up together by Mr. Stark and Mrs. Stark. So she is now the second wife of him, first. So Mr. Stark end up doing favoritism over Adam and Charles. So Adam is noticeably, visibly his favorite child because he is the fragile one. With that also, it is very toxic of Mr. Stark because there is various incident which makes Charles jealous of Adam. Charles is very violent and very hot-tempered. It is still justifiable because he was brought up in this way. It seems like Mr. Stark intentionally did so. So Charles is deprived of father's love. He is starving of the attention from Mr. Stark. He even gives him a knife because he notices Mr. Stark needs a knife, and he gives him on his birthday the knife, and he does not even bother to open the gift, and this shatters Charles. And this difference between two sons creates this sibling rivalry and generational trauma within Charles, and he remorse the rejection from the father into Adam, and he beats Adam, and this is not the right thing to do so, and he takes resentment again from Cyrus, where Cyrus favors Adam over Charles, and this creates a rift between two sons, the discrimination of parenthood. So Adam becomes the victim of the facade created by Cyrus, because Cyrus did not believe on loving two sons in an equal, like keeping two sons in an equal pedestal. So he favored Adam, I think because of his fragility, but Charles resented it, and the repercussion of it became like sibling rivalry and Charles beating the death out of Adam every single time. Kathy. So Kathy is a total maniac, a psychopath. So when she was a child, she orchestrated the suicide of her Latin teacher. Later, she locked the door and she set her house into a blaze with her parents locked inside. She had the most beautiful childhood. Her parents were so good to her. She was born with this condition. She was devoid of moral conscience, I think, because there is no reason justifying the deed, her wickedness, the deed she ended up doing. It is total crime, every single time. So she is eloped by murdering her teacher and both her parents. She now becomes the victim of this pimp. So he has beaten death. So the pimp has beaten her to the death and left her into this abyss. Kathy marries Adam, gives him twin, ends up shooting Adam, and she elopes, being a madam of a brothel, a high-end brothel. In there too, she ends up committing crime. Let's not go in there. So now we have, Kathy had given birth to this twin, and now we have Abel and Caleb. So Caleb is the embodiment of Charles, and Aaron is the embodiment of Adam. So now the father, Adam, is emotionally paralyzed, and he hires a American Chinese servant staff for his home, and he turns out being Lee. As I have already told, this enigmatic philosophical mind is Lee. So I've already mentioned they are the embodiment. So Aaron is a fragile one. He's a good boy, goes to school and everything. Later on, he joins. There is a metamorphosis in his character as he joins the military. Later, World War II becomes the death of him. We are going to come later on, after finding out about his mother. So throughout his childhood, he lived with this thought of his mother being a pristine one, but later he find out about the truth of him, which is through Caleb. So Caleb is deprived of father's attention. Again, the pattern is repeating. This is a generational pattern. So Caleb is touched with reality. He is smart, he is rational, but he is also aware of his darkness. The generational curse, he is aware of that. And when he gives his father a financial gift, trying to help his father, but Adam rejects it and he takes it to his heart. So he declares the truth about their mother to Adam, and Adam was not able to bear it, and he joins the military, and that becomes the death of him. So now the death of Aaron makes Adam physically weak, and he is in a verge of a deathbed now. So Lee forced Adam for a damsel to Caleb. So that's how he gets the redemption. So now let's talk about my favorite character, Lee. So Lee is a house, like caretaker of the house, but he ends up being this functional parent, present parent to the twins, Aaron and Caleb. So he is an enigmatic character. He is a well-read one. So he have this intellect and a heart. So Tamsel, as I've already told, is uncovered by Lee himself through Maest, and he is the one who breaks this generational curse as by forcing Adam to bless Caleb with Tamsel, and he gives redemption to Caleb. Caleb is the only one to get it, and it is the conduct of our character Lee. He has this lifelong dream of opening a bookstore, and he gets this opportunity, and he went out for it too, but he gets back to Track's family in day 2. He was not able to live without them because he is the one who actually brought up the twins, and twins are now adults. Like, he runs back to the twins. So yeah, this is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my POV. If you want to have more deeper discussion on the book, you guys can DM me, or like it's just we can have a chat in a comment section. With that, I would like to bid you a goodbye, and yeah, damsel everybody.